day today, so we're going to have a barbecue. We're making our own burgers. Tegan and Finn are going to flavour their own because they like very different flavours. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to make a potato salad to start with. Potato salad is very personal. You can put flavours in that you like. I'm going to give you two different recipes. One is with a creme fraiche dressing and another one is with an olive oil base. But we're adding things like bacon. If you don't want bacon or you don't eat it, just leave it out. We're putting gherkins and capers, but again, you can add what you like. The main thing with any salad is getting the balance between the acidity and the seasoning correct, because otherwise, if you don't, it can be really bland. So, on the side, I would say with dressings of making them slightly stronger, and more, certainly I add more salt to my dressing simply because a little bit is going to go a long way. And with potato salad, it absorbs the salt and the dressing. So sometimes if you've made a potato salad the day before, it's worth keeping dressing aside that you stir in just before you serve it, because it will taste quite bland as the potatoes absorb that flavour. Tegan is peeling the potatoes to put into the boiling water for our potato salad. So I've got the potatoes here. I'm using my bridge to slice through. I'm keeping these quite chunky. Remember, again, the flat surface is there. And then I'm cutting that just into pieces about that size. I'm putting it straight into water because the potatoes will start browning if I don't. The water and the salt will stop it because it stops the oxygen getting to the skin. So we are keeping them roughly the same size, but they don't have to be exact, and that is because we want them to cook evenly. If we have our potatoes very different sizes, then we'll have some that are cooked way before others, and that will just leave us with a big sloppy mess of potatoes. So they're in there. So Finn's cutting the spring up at the, that's probably easier if you stand up, cutting the chives nice and fine. Tegan's peeling the potatoes and putting all her food waste into the bin to keep nice and tidy. We've got the pot of water there. We're just going to continue slicing. And we're going to bring them to the boil, turn the heat down and just have them simmering for between 10 and 15 minutes. It depends how big you've cut them, so do check every 5 minutes, just put a fork through. You definitely want them to be soft through, because there's nothing worse than biting onto a half-cooked potato, but you don't want them so soft that they're dissolving in the water. Another thing with potatoes, potato salad, you want to make sure your dressing is ready to go when your potatoes are ready, and the reason being is that when they are warm, they absorb all the lovely flavour, and it just makes the potato salad, the flavour go right the way through. Right, so Finn's done a great job there. Do you want to go and wash your hands?
No.
No, you're all right? Okay, so next, Tegan's still going with those. Next, Finn, we're going to use, we love gherkins, so we're going to slice some of those. Do you want to use your claw? Be very careful. You know how to use your claw, don't you? No nails. Good boy. And then little ones though, because you want a little mouthful of each.
Yeah.
I would do them even smaller than that. And then we're going to do all of those in there. So we've got about 80 grams of gherkins. Get these in here in the bowl. We've pan fried some lardons, bacon lardons, and I've put them onto, they're very nice and crispy as you can see. And we put them onto kitchen roll because that drains off all the excess fat, because there is often a lot of it, and we know that that's saturated fat, which isn't great for us, so we want to take some of that off. I always, with my potato salad, cook off some onions with a little bit of bay leaf. I think it gives an intensity of flavour that's really lovely, so I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons of that into our mix, which is going to make up our dressing. This particular recipe does have a tablespoon of grainy mustard. If you're not mad on grainy mustard, you can put less. I don't have it at the moment, so we're going to use a teaspoon, because it is stronger, of just Dijon mustard. So I'm scraping it on the side to make sure it's not too much. But again, even if you don't like mustard, give it a go, because sometimes there's a lot of flavours of things that you possibly, or dishes that you do like that you don't realise what they do have in them. And a lot of things like mustard, even if you don't like it on its own, enhances a dish. So be open-minded when you're creating recipes. You can always adjust it. That's to keep them all the same size, Finny. And remember to guide the blade all the way through. Well done, Tiggs. Okay, we're nearly over those. So for acidity that I was talking about, remember, rather have, this is certainly a dish that absorbs a lot of flavour, and when it can taste quite well seasoned before soon after you've made it, it can change because the potatoes absorb the flavour. Thyme, fresh thyme is lovely in there. If you want to put a few sprigs of fresh thyme leaves, you can do that. We sometimes put dill in. I have put dill on the recipe. Some people do not like dill. If you're just going to do the olive oil vinaigrette, dill I think is really nice with a little bit of citrus. You could put a bit of lemon juice and a bit of lemon zest. Play around with it. That's half the fun. So I've given you the base recipe, but again, do play around with it. Right, so for acidity, I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. We've got, Tegan's going to mix in in here we've got 100 grams of creme fraiche, and we've got 50 grams of mayonnaise. Now I've just used the light mayonnaise. Do you want to scoop that in, Tegan? We're going to put a little bit of salt. Now remember, I've put salt into the potato water, so the potatoes will certainly be absorbing that as well. So in the beginning, to start with, remember you can always add more salt at the end, but you do at the same time want to make sure that your dressing does have enough seasoning. So Tegan's going to do that. Finn's doing a great job with the capers over there. Good boy, Finn. Well done, Tiggs. So potatoes are going in. They're going to go on the stove. We'll have the dressing ready. Tegan's going to hold the bowl and mix that all in well. Finn, you're going to pop those back in there. Okay, and then you need to take we need a teaspoon of capers in there as well.
Okay.
So, let me get this on the stove and we'll be back with you shortly. That's it. Give it a really good mix up, Tiggs. So our potatoes have been cooked now, 10 minutes. I just strained them. They're still nice and warm. And I'm going to firstly sprinkle my gherkins and capers into my dressing. Like that. I'm going to put half of my bacon. You can do more lardons if you like it very bacony, or leave them out totally if you prefer. Okay, as I said, this is more of the creamy dressing, but I will put a vinaigrette on as well for you to use. Now when you pop the potatoes in and they're still warm, you want to gently fold them over each other so that you're not turning them to a mush, but that they're getting a nice coating of the dressing. As I said, if you're going to make this the day before, make extra dressing so you can pour a little bit over when you stir it the next day before you serve it, because it will have absorbed a lot of those flavours. There we go. But it is delicious served just warm after it's had a little time to just sit and absorb. And then to finish off, I'm going to pour it into a bowl. Okay. Remember, your spatula is really useful in getting all of the little bits and pieces out of your bowl, like that, so you don't miss any of your lovely dressing that you've made. There we go. And then I'm just going to sprinkle over the remaining bacon lardons over the top, like that. A little bit of chives or chopped dill, whatever you prefer. And there you go. You've got your potato salad to go with your barbecue.